Okay, I'm back. If you didn't already know, TJ likes to talk a lot, and that's pretty funny coming from me because I talk all the time. I'm probably the worst at it. So having me and TJ together are a force of talk. Okay, just bring him back in.
Yo.
Hey,
No, I was just saying, see, you love to talk. I love to talk,
yeah.
and the two of us together is a lot of talking.
Well, yeah.
This is what happens when we
I'll tell
talk.
you a story, and I swear I won't talk too much. But
Go,
um,
go.
so what happens when I go on tour a lot is I lose my voice. Like I rehearse, and then it's a lot of singing, and then I get on the road, and it's and I talk a lot. I do talk all the fucking time. So that doesn't stop, and then I'm singing too, and it destroys my voice. And so I have this thing that happened all the time where about a week in on a tour, I would lose my voice. And this has happened to me forever since I've been on tour. I have to tell everybody, hey, because when you lose your voice and you're a singer, the only thing that fixes it is not
Talking.
talking,
Yeah.
right? And so this has happened to me so many times on tour where I'm like, oh shit, I'm losing my voice. I tell everyone, hey guys, I just want to let everybody know that I'm losing my voice,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna not talk for a couple days. Hopefully get
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
voice back.
Yeah.
and everyone's always like, cool, yeah, yeah, great. My whole band, everybody on the road, yeah, good. That sounds good. And then I sit there and I don't talk. Without fail, somebody comes up to me and goes, "Are you okay? Is everything all right? You you doing good? Are you sure you're not talking?" I, I'm not talking because I'm not supposed to use my voice. And they go, oh yeah, okay. But you're sure you're not mad? And that whole like thing, I mean,
Yeah.
to the point to where I'm like, I fucking told you I can't talk. But yeah, I do have a sort of I'm a talker. I love to talk. I've been
And so do
when I was
I.
in school,
It's
when I
just
was in high school, I was always accused of liking the sound of my own voice. No, it's not the sound of it; it's the shit I have to say. And like,
you know what they called me in
what?
school?
Yeah,
Mouth on a stick.
mouth on a stick. I can relate to that. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
And I was always being moved because it was like no matter where they moved me, I would just talk to whoever was there, and they'd be
well,
like,
right. I mean,
and so
you're
then they'd move you again, move you again, move you again. And at the very end, the teacher moved me to a desk that faced like touched their desk facing them. So it was like both of us looking at each other. And then I just was like, so I'll
I'll
talk to
talk to
you
you.
then.
Yeah, I'll talk to you. Yeah, yeah. You
And they
you
were like,
misread
oh,
all the things. Like,
yeah. And
it's
then they
not that
ended
I
up
want to
just
talk to
booting me
them.
back.
I want to talk to anybody.
Yeah.
Like,
And then the guy
well,
was like,
there's a thing about that though. There's a thing about being interested in people and needing to hear. Like, there's a thing about somebody who talks over somebody who just like bulldozes over another person and just says shit and just doesn't listen at all. Like, can't hear. Um, that's not what I think you do, and I don't think I do that either. But I do have to be conscious of talking so much because so many people will get quiet, and I will definitely
yeah.
silence a room because I will fill it up with words, and people will go,
Same.
"Can I talk now?"
Yeah.
It's almost like annoying, but yeah, yeah, like it,
But I think
I,
that's why when we're together, like when we're hanging out and drinking and stuff, it works because we're both like blah 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 blah, 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 at
I
each
don't feel
other.
like we've ever really. I don't know. Yeah, we don't step on each other that way. Like I mean,
No,
we've
that's what
known
I
each other
mean.
for a
We
very long
we
time. We
work.
met we met in an online way, in a very early online way. Like we
Yeah.
met a blog.
Hmm.
I had a clothing company before I was doing the folk band, and you and I and what we were doing kind of worked together. You know, it's very similar to what David Castillo from St. Vitus, who's doing the age of quarantine, I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a
Yeah.
similar thing, and I find it all very synchronicitous. You know, that we're all kind of like, I'm doing interviews with people that I've known for over a decade.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
in this manner, it's strange, but
Mm.
I'm interested in it, and I'm happy. I guess I might not be here if it was someone
Someone
else.
else.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah.
There are interviews. I
Thank
mean,
you.
I get a lot. Sorry.
I said
Well,
thank you.
no, of course. I mean, no, thank you. And like, honestly, like, I don't think I do talk a lot, but I hope I don't silence you.
No.
No,
No. Because
no,
the
I
thing
know that's a
is,
big deal with feminists.
you're pointing at me. No.
Oh,
No,
no, I
not at
don't
all.
want to seem like I'm just like the white guy in the room shouting.
Steamrolling.
Yeah.
No. Because I mean, I'm essentially the like the white girl doing that when I'm out. I'm like,
It's like,
you know.
it's
So
crazy how like somebody could always be the something that's not good enough to be talking. You
yeah,
know, I don't know. I don't really jump in on that stuff too much, but I mean, we've been friends forever. Like, that's the fact of it. And like, yeah, I don't feel like I silence other people. I do
no,
listen.
I
But
don't
yeah,
think
no,
so. Only if they're a dickhead. Like I've only seen you silence someone if they're like
out of line.
just
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
like
isn't that what
then
we're like? Isn't that what somebody's supposed to do if they have the power to do it? You know,
yeah. I
right? Isn't
mean,
that what
you
that angle says? You know, hey, why don't you stand up for other people? You know, and
yeah,
yeah,
and you and like yeah, you annihilated that guy that night. It was
yeah,
fucking funny. It was
that
great.
poor bastard. You know, that sad son of a bitch. You know, I don't know what was wrong with him. I guess he was friends with one of the promoters. I found out later. I was just like, why'd you bring him around? You know,
Yeah.
what was that for?
What was that about? Yeah.
Yeah, was that for
It
my
was.
enjoyment? Because I didn't enjoy it. That for
Yeah.
your enjoyment? Because I don't think you enjoyed the way, you know.
Yeah. You just made it super fucking orcs the
Well,
whole
yeah. Did
time.
you just want to see two people in conflict? Is that what you want to see? I mean, but a lot of people don't know me. That's another thing too. Is
Mm.
they assume of, you know, what I'm gonna be, and then they have their own friends and whomever they're gonna be. But I go to other countries all the time. I go to places that are far from my home, and I try and not take my home or whom I am 100% into other places. I try and read the room. I try and understand the cultural differences. You know, like I didn't used to, but
Yeah.
I learned the hard way that that's the best way to be, is to like look around and say, you know, are you misreading, you know,
Yeah. What's going on?
the aggression? You know, if you go to a place like Germany, you know, a place where people aren't really that aggressive anymore, it's a
Mm.
quite pacified place.
Very. Like I remember getting
Yeah,
on the train in Berlin and like no one says a fucking word.
right.
Like, and it's so awkward. And I'm just like, trying to, just having a normal conversation, and everyone's staring at you like,
Somebody might even say something to you, keep your voice
yeah,
down. They might even say
mm,
that to you, which is so
mm.
wild, right? But
Yeah.
I
It's
mean,
so,
that's
yeah,
like in Sweden, it's like times 10. Like,
mm,
like spending some time there and then coming back into an American environment, or I would
yeah,
say an Australian environment, because my fiance did this exact same thing. We're both like just astounded by how loud Americans and Australians are by
yeah.
comparison. But it's like,
Yeah,
how dare you laugh that loud? Jesus, it's so loud. Like, but no, like it's
like we talk at any given, on public transport and shit. People are always talking over here and probably over there. But like, yeah,
here
there's
for sure.
like everyone's like, people are either on their phone talking so loud to people, or they're
Berlin's
like talking
an
with each other.
international city too. Berlin doesn't really represent Germany, but
Mm,
I mean, in that place, aggression, I would say, isn't the same as it is in like America or Australia. Like
It's even like when I had to go
they're not really that. They're not like
alone.
they're not gonna kick your ass. They're not actually gonna like be violent with you. That's a rare occurrence. And I've been in a situation there where I misread what well people were acting aggressive, and I just assumed the next thing would be a severe act of aggression.
Yeah.
And so I met that with an American answer, which was inappropriate, and
Yeah.
and learning that like lesson was like, it was a real wake up call for me. I was like, wow, I cannot carry around like this stuff. It's like a corpse on your back if you carry Australia out of there and you're just like, smashing pints on people's faces and just king punching everybody you don't like. You got to realize at some point that stuff needs to stay home, and other people aren't doing that. Even though they might be behaving aggressive, it will never reach that point. And you have to read the room. You have to look around and go, is anybody else worried, or is it just me? That's the thing that took me a long time to learn. I was like, no, it's just me. But when you talk about like things like PTSD, or people that were, abused or from a violent environment, you take them and you put them in a different place, they're going to react. Whose fault is it? Is it their fault that they reacted the way that they were conditioned to, or is it the people that don't understand that some people will misunderstand that? It's such a complicated like minefield. It's such a slippery slope that I decided a long time ago that it was my problem, not anyone else's. Because in that situation, I was always the aggressor. So like,
I mean,
German people will just look at you. They'll just stare. They'll eye fuck you, and I'll be like, "What the fuck are you looking at?" Like, I will.
That's true. That is so true.
And no, but it's my fault. It's not their.
Yeah,
it's
you're interpreting
society. They're like peaceful. It's just they're just like looking at your shoes. They eye fuck you though. It still pisses me off, but I mean, hey, hey, in Australia, I go there, no one, somebody will do that to me. I mean, I remember I was in Brisbane, like 5 dudes who were like on speed, saying, like, we were crossing the street. It was like a Friday night. They said some crazy shit at me, and I was like, yeah, do you want, like I read the aggression correctly. Like, do you want to do it? And they're all like, just like, 19. Like I could have picked one up and hit the other one with them. And
like
I'm not even joking. They were just, and they all really quickly realized like they were like in over their heads. They backed off. But it I guess Brisbane is a bit bogan. I don't know. I hate saying that, but
well, I mean, it's a country city.
What's that?
It's like a country city, so like it's like but like there's not. It's because it's like, I mean, if you go up further, it's horrible. Like Brisbane's better than going up to like Gold Coast.
Yeah, the Gold Coast is it, but everybody goes, don't go up there.
Yeah,
I love all the people I've met in Brisbane, and have loads of friends there, and through my fiance. But honestly, I could see how. Well, clearly, I see how it's different than Melbourne.
Yeah.
And I spent when I first came there, I spent the most time in Melbourne. I spent a week there, but I didn't like it. Exactly. I mean, me and my bandmate, Garrett. Was with me. Yeah, you met Garrett. Yeah, he's a great guy. He's a forest ranger.
He has, that he's obsessed with the show Millennium, and so am I.
Yeah.
And he has the fucking car. He bought the fucking car.
I know, he's a right guy. I don't know.
I almost had a heart attack. He's got the fucking car. Yeah, I'm like, I have to come over because I want you to drive me in the car. like I was like dead serious. I was like, I need to be. I want to hop in the car.
Yeah.
Like
right now, he's in the woods in outside of Boise, Idaho. He's a couple hours away from that, and he's working out there. Love that guy.
Yeah. I was just like, you're like my favorite human now. I'm like, you're my favorite human. No one on this planet likes that show like me. And I was like,
He's
and then when
obsessed
he's,
with them. He's obsessed
I
with them.
know, this so am I, and this is the thing. And
But
then
I
I
have this
was
guy
like,
too. You know, he doesn't have the. I don't have it
you're
because,
Boris.
but I don't have it
Yeah,
because of that
because of
show. No.
Millennium. Yeah, yeah. No, I know.
But
I
listen,
was gonna get this thing, but yeah.
listen. Like we went there. We went to Melbourne, and we spent the most time there because that's where the promoters were from. So we spent like over a week there, and you know, it's a great city, absolutely. But it
Mm.
reminded us a lot of like the things we don't like about our city, like Seattle. There's like a
Yeah, yeah.
like people see you, they're like, oh hey, where are you from? Like they're like sort of judging you.
Mm. In different
Or
parts, I'd agree.
weighing like how important you are in the scene, or I don't know. There's like a scene, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
And that thing about Melbourne is the thing I hated the most. But everything else about it, I loved. Like the
Yeah,
people
so
at the Evelyn, the friends I made that when we were there, we found an American / Canadian bar, and we spent a lot of time there. Maybe we were homesick, I don't know. But Brisbane, we were only there for like one day. Like
yeah.
we were barely there, so we didn't really get to know it. And the initial feeling of Brisbane, I didn't like it at all. I did not like it. And it wasn't until I went back, you know, obviously that's where my girl is from, and
Yeah.
to know it. And I actually really like it. It's like my tempo. It's like it fits really
Very
well with
slow. Yeah.
my rhythm. Yeah, very slow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not a lot
It,
of people are looking at each other, you know, judging each
yeah,
other
yeah,
based on
yeah,
like
yeah.
their outfit or what they do. It's very
Yeah, because
cool. I like that. I appreciate that.
well, like yeah, like my family live outside of like an hour out of Brisbane, and yeah, it's totally different when you leave the city.
Right. I bet.
That's
Yeah. Well, we
when you
did.
leave the city. That's when you realize like the difference. You know what I
Yeah, her
mean?
parents live a little outside, and we went kind of. We did a bunch of stuff.
Did you go to the Big Pineapple?
No, but we went to near the. I don't know. We went near the where the. We went to a bird sanctuary, which was amazing, and it's near the. Like you could see the Glass House Mountains really well from there, but
Hmm.
it's not. It's sort of where I guess Ivan Milat did his killing. Isn't that where?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, no, yeah, no. He did. He was wasn't he? He was Northern Territory.
Yeah. Yeah, but oh no, it's where the other guy, the kid, not the guy, the kid got
Snowtown?
abducted. What?
Snowtown? No.
No,
Trying to think
no.
which one.
The kid who got abducted. You got
The dingo ate my baby.
no, not that one. No, no, not. I mean, that might be there, but I'm talking about. Oh, what's his Daniel Morecombe?
I can't even bloody remember this.
You don't know about the Daniel Morecombe case, and you're an
No,
Australian.
I
That's
can't,
one of the worst.
what was it,
I
that one?
don't recommend looking it up.
I'm totally looking it up right now.
So
It was
Daniel Morecombe
probably,
was abducted. He was waiting. He was waiting at a bus stop. The bus he had just missed by like a minute, and then
interfering.
somebody picked him up, and the guy who picked him up, they didn't know who it was forever, and then they found out who it was in a really kind of incredible sting operation that they did, where they knew who the guy was, they knew who the suspect was, who probably did it through investigation, but they couldn't really prove it, so they came up with this elaborate sting operation, which could only be done in Australia. I swear to God,
Yeah.
like I love the country so much because it goes against all the rules. They tricked
Actually,
the
yeah,
guy
I
into
do.
thinking he was part of the crime syndicate, and then they got him
Yes.
to confess to the crime of killing Daniel Morecombe
Yeah,
on
yeah, yeah.
tape, and then he later recanted it. But regardless, this guy, and his name was like Shadow Wolf something. He changed. Oh God, this guy sucks. The guy, he was like a pedophile type murderer.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I interfered with a corpse.
Yeah, yeah, Daniel Morecombe. Super
Yeah,
sad. I think that was near where I was.
yeah,
I think, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, because he was ducked from Sunshine Plaza. Yeah, I do remember it now. It's like just that was like it was like 2003.
He's
Like,
like your version of our Johnny Gosh, which happened in the 80s here. But you know, I love true crime stuff, but yeah, it's when people have to read.
have you looked into any of the Adelaide stuff then? Because
No,
Adelaide
what's
is,
that?
oh my God.
Adelaide's just a city of churches. I don't know what you're talking about.
There's two things. Adelaide is city of churches. Adelaide is like where all the serial killers and cults are.
Is that the Snowtown murders? Is that that?
No, that's New South. I think that was New South Wales. But yeah, like if you look up Adelaide and like serial killers and stuff, there was like the one where a woman and a man had like all these bodies in the yard and like, yeah, it's like it's churches and serial killers is usually.
I think the first like sort of true crimey thing I ever learned about Australia was Chopper. You know about Chopper?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I used to live here near him
yeah.
at one stage, and I'd go. I was like in the
Where's he from? Is that Sydney or
Melbourne,
Melbourne? Yeah.
So, and he was living out like sort of near where I was, and I went to like the big, plaza type thing, and I was in the same aisle as him, like in the supermarket, and I was just like, ah.
Did you say anything?
No, because he was just like, he's a fucking nutbag, like he's a nutter, and
yeah, but I bet if you were like, hey, Chopper.
Oh yeah, he would have been like, yeah, you take a photo, because he has all those books. Like he wrote like a gazillion books.
He's basically famous for
he has all
being
these
prisoner.
women. He's got like all these women fans who like collected his books and stuff.
Wasn't it so crazy about serial? He's not even a serial killer. He's like a serial inmate, right? So he's like a little different, like, but like serial killers have this like fandom.
And he only like hurts, like he just like fucks up people who are criminals too.
Yeah, he's sort of an anti-hero.
Yeah, and then like so for a little while
he did that because he was in prison, so he didn't like the way that other prisoners were behaving.
But before he went to prison
for fucking them up, right?
Yeah, that's why he went to jail. Yeah, like biting off someone's ear or whatever.
I'm so terrified of going to prison. Like the worst thing I could imagine is going to prison.
Oh hell yeah!
I have a friend of a friend who's been to prison, and I was hanging out with him in San Francisco, in Oakland actually, and now he's reformed. He's out of prison, but he did like a stint.
Mm-hmm.
He was in prison. He's like a yoga instructor now, but he's also a drug dealer. So because he's still, he's a yoga drug dealer.
Yeah.
And he's friends with a friend of mine, and he's there, and I go, oh, fuck, I told, we were talking about prison somehow. It came up. He goes, yeah, I was in prison for like 7 years. And I go, that's like my nightmare,
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, why? And I go, well, I mean, for the obvious reasons, like I don't want to have to join a gang, like Aryan Brotherhood, just to like prevent myself from being like beaten and raped, like that, like typical shit.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
He just looked at me and he goes, no, he's like, no, you wouldn't have to do that. Like, he's saying from like a point of experience, he's like, no, like
you'd be fine.
He's like, you'd be fine. He's like, you're smart, you're friendly, and yeah, it's like the other guys that's like the fate of everyone else. And I was like, I was on all this ketamine, that I just taken. I was like, that's the nicest thing anybody's ever said to me, is that I would be fine in prison.
You would be fine in prison, yeah.
Yeah, that's all I want to hear from anybody, that
you'll be okay if worse comes to worse and you get sent there.
Well, I'm pretty sure I'd do okay.
If you ever,
such a nightmare, though. Like, I mean, could you imagine? No.
I would hate it. Yeah, I reckon I reckon I'd be someone's bitch, probably.
Why would you reckon that?
I don't know. I just have this feeling that like some huge butch woman would just be like.
I don't think it works that way. I think honestly, if you want it to happen that way, it happens that way. I think that's how. Yeah. It works. I don't think people like, because I don't know. Is anybody doing that to you now?
No.
Yeah, so I think that like
I'll go in there and be like, yeah, maybe I'll be all right in female prison.
I think we overestimate the power that other prisoners have. Like
yeah.
basically we live right now in an open air prison. Like this world, like you pay rent. I mean, you're forced to pay for your prison cell right now. I mean,
Yeah.
you go like no one does this to you now. Why would that happen to you then?
I don't
I
know.
think,
It's just like one
I
of
think,
those watching too many. It's watching too many
yeah,
films, and
absolutely.
I,
Yeah,
you know,
like
it's
the
like there's
Shawshank
always,
Redemption, and you think that's like no. I think even in that story, that guy's like an accountant who's like wrongfully like accused of
yeah,
murder.
yeah, yeah,
You know, he's not the
yeah.
right guy. Like
No,
I've been
no.
in fucking tons of fights. Like
But then watch
I,
the
I'm
one.
already like a person
Yeah, you've got
that
the
would be
fighting.
problematic
Mm.
introduced to almost any prison environment. You know, like it. I I'm not trying to brag, but I'm saying it's like uh, it wouldn't. I don't
You
want to
would,
be in there as much as they don't want me in there.
yeah,
You know.
yeah.
Yeah, and I
Uh,
think that I
you
think
would
it's the
like,
same thing. If you have any kind of smarts at all, you're not going to get fucked up. You know, you're
yeah,
not
yeah.
going to get taken advantage of. I mean,
I can imagine you talking, just talking people into oblivion, and then them being like, "I'm out." Just, woo. You'd
oh yeah, I'll
probably,
probably use my words as much as I can, but then
mm.
the thing is like at some point in those environments, you have to use your fist. Like
Oh yeah,
one of my
yeah. Well,
favorite things to that I one of my favorite things I've ever read when I was reading a lot about like the you know I read a lot about the Celts and you know the sort of Scotsmen, you know the early you know
yeah,
tribal like the Gauls, you know in France, and then you have the you know Vikings up in Scandinavia. What
yeah,
what was really important for them as uh, Vikings, you know, specifically talking about them, is
yeah,
they had to be they weren't complete if they like they couldn't just go out on a boat and kill people and you know rape and pillage and come back and that was it. They also had to be well versed in the poetic Edda and to be able to sit around a fire and like talk. You know,
mm,
that was the complete version of a Viking. You weren't complete unless you could do everything. You know, and
mm.
that's where I think that people really fuck up. Like today, like people focus. Like I mean, we see it more often now than ever. We see people that like are super hyper focused on being like really physical or very mental, one or the
Yeah,
other,
yeah.
but neither
Not both.
both. Yeah,
Mm.
and consider this like if you extract those things from the spiritual, then they're not even being that, you know? So
Yeah,
like
yeah,
they're not even doing what it meant to be a complete person then, right? 1,000 plus years ago. We've kind of disconnected in a way from what our potentiality is. Like you should be able to talk, you should be able to fight, and you should be able to connect to a higher
yeah.
spiritual realm. And if you can't do all three, then you're not a fucking person. Like I mean, that's it. And
You
that's
just
what it used to be
not.
like.
Yeah,
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 like why would I listen to you? Like why? I mean, why would I listen to somebody who's just gone to college? You know, just
yeah,
thinks with their mind. You know,
yeah, yeah.
uh, there needs to be a you know a different interpretation of what it is to be a human being. Like really, I mean, I think that like
Yeah, no, you.
it's sort of how we lack leadership. You see how we lack leadership at everywhere. Like there's nobody. There's
Yeah, every country. Yeah. I mean,
well, in every
maybe not.
group,
Oh, yeah, that too. Yeah.
whether it's
See,
like
that's the thing I like about you, though, is that with you, you always know where you stand, and
yeah, I don't really change my
you'll
script.
always be honest. You're always honest, and yeah, and you always but people probably don't think that you're super fun, but you're like one of the funnest people,
Well,
and you're also fucking really funny. Anyone who's been to a King Dude show probably knows that you tell the really bad jokes.
I do. I love it, and but I think that that's also part of it too. Is like I mean, you got to be clever. Like, god damn it, like I don't
I
know.
just love
My
that.
favorite artists or whatever have been clever, like and been able to I
Like
don't know
that.
be able to talk your way out of the conflict before you fight your way out or anything else, right? Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
have a head on your shoulders for fuck's sake. Like think, god damn it, like don't fight your way out of your out of your
Yeah,
comments. And
if you can.
I mean, so much more now today than I've ever seen is people that are, you know, a lot of people are asking people to fight for things that they've never asked other people to fight for. But the people that are asking them to do physical things, I'm like, have you ever done anything physical before in your fucking life? Or have you just like, is this the moment that your collegiate sort of life pushed you towards with your super soft fists? Like, do you understand what violence looks like? Do you understand it? Do you understand how grotesque it is? Do you understand the nightmare-inducing reality that it is? Like, it would be really great to see some leadership come up, you know, within the ranks of people today who are inciting sort of violent acts that have said, hey, I've done this shit before. I don't like it. And this is why we shouldn't do it. That's my position. I don't think we should do violence. I really abhor it. I would love it.
I hate it. Like,
Yeah.
I always find it like, I think it's like the most, almost like the most cowardice, lazy way to deal with something. Is
Well,
by
it's animalistic, I guess. It's like primate. Like, it's like reductive. You know, if you want to go back and just like be really tribal and like behave like an animal, sure. Yeah, they're the enemy. Go claw their eyes out. You know, are you ready for the consequences of that? Like, the consequences of that are fucking immense. But the nightmares that you will have if you have a fucking head on your shoulder, it'll terrorize you. Like, I've done terrible things to people, you know, and things I regret in fights, you know, in fights, things that I'm ashamed of, you know, to a certain degree. Under the certain circumstances that they happened, they were called for, whatever. But it doesn't change the nightmares that I have about it. You know what I mean? The like grotesque nature of it. You have to understand that violence it permeates all manner of existence, you know. And it's the reason that religion says don't do it. It's not because they're just like trying to pacify everybody. It's like, no, some people have looked into the void and they've realized this is bad. You know, this is not something you should be doing.
Once you go down that track, you kind of fucked. It's even if you've been brought up in around violence, like you keep that
somebody's
shit.
Like, what were the terrible things? You know, I don't want to go to jail.
Yeah, but that is the thing I was going to say. Like, you are super friendly, funny, those things that people probably don't realize. But then also, at a moment's whim, you might be like, "I'll bop ya."
Well, I did that. I mean, we were together, like in Melbourne.
But there's got to be a reason.
Because you know, it wasn't so random that I chose that moment to do it. It's because I've been in loads of other fights. I took the high ground, and I decided this is the best time to do it.
Yeah.
And I knew he would say, "I don't want to do it."
Yeah.
You know, we were on the staircase.
Yeah.
And I stopped everybody talking. I said, if you don't shut the fuck up, I'm gonna not, whatever I said. I can't remember. Yeah. But I basically put it, do you want to do this or not? You know, and he was like, no, calm down. And and then he went into like the whole like crying about it for like hours and like this sort of like tail between the leg. Like, I hate this whole like alpha dog discussion thing because we're not dogs and we're not primates. We're human beings, right?
Yeah.
What I did was calculated. I fucking didn't like the guy, but if I was going to say something, I was going to wait until he would say the wrong thing and I could hit him in a way that he would regret. I mean, that's just who I am. And unfortunately, he decided to fuck with me and you and our friends. And, you know, that's his choice. I mean, it's a crazy thing for me too. Like, people like decide, they see acoustic guitar, they see a guy with acoustic guitar, they can see a guy almost nearly crying his eyes out, singing his songs. They go, I'm going to fuck with him when he's off the stage. It's not the right person to fuck with. The amount of, like, humanity it takes to fucking get up on stage and actually emote that much is that's not the person you want to fuck with. Typically, I'm not the whatever the Bon Iver guy. You know, you think I...
No, you're not. No,
and
definitely not.
And it's just a fact, and I wish I could like somehow express that in my music. I think I
Mm.
do, but no,
Mm.
I still get people like this, you know, occasionally that come up in my life, and I go, "What are you fucking thinking?" Like,
Yeah, yeah,
like, I don't want to fucking lay my hands on you, but I will if you. I wish people would stop challenging me like in that way, like that guy did,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
or
That
and fuck
line.
with you, like, and just be cool. Like, no one's being a dick. No one was saying like, um, to him anything other than like, yeah, you're welcome to hang out, but just don't, you know, like you're
Yeah,
just like,
just
can you just be cool? Like,
yeah, exactly.
nope,
It was like just fucking chill and stop
yeah.
being making this like really like fun time into this super awkward fucking thing. But
It was like he was shooting little like jabs at everyone, you know.
yeah, that's
I
why I was
hate
like,
that
who
shit.
who invited this person? Because he was jabbing
The
everyone.
promoter.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like he was just, I mean, he even had jabs at them. Like it was weird, weird human.
I
Anyway,
found this over and over again when I mean, because I travel so much in my job, and like I'll be in a city surrounded by my friends, and there'll be one person like that every fucking, like, I mean, not every time, but like I could I could spot it a mile away, and I go,
yeah,
oh,
yeah, you,
this is the guy.
yeah, it's a
It's always a guy.
phase.
This is the guy they keep around to make them, this little fucking circle of people, feel better about themselves, because
Yeah,
at least they're not him. So
yeah,
whatever bad thing they do, they get fucking blitzed. They go, well,
yeah,
at least I'm not that guy.
yeah, yeah,
And they keep him
definitely.
around like a little fucking totem. This is really sad.
Mm.
And I've told people, they go, and they always say the same thing. They always go, you don't understand. He's actually a really good guy. And they go,
Mm.
no, he's not. Clearly, he's not.
Yeah,
And it reflects upon you. I don't keep anybody in my circle of friends. I don't really have a circle of friends like that. But
yeah,
if I did, I would not keep somebody around to just be the punching bag, you know, so that
yeah,
I feel
yeah,
good. I
yeah,
go, okay, I'm not that guy. That's what that guy is, and that guy
yeah,
usually lashes out the most of any group. Uh, I've seen it over and over again. I've seen it in other countries, you know, like in France. I've seen it, you know, random places. And I'm just like, in New York City, you know, like I've
all
seen
around.
people
Yeah,
do shit like this, and they make apologies, excuses for this person. I go, you know what? If like you can't really, you can't make apologies for bad behavior, and if you have a guest, you should treat them like a guest. You know,
yeah,
like a
yeah,
dog. In fact, you shouldn't treat them like subject them to the worst person you know, just because
yeah.
you're
Like,
used to them. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like it doesn't make any sense to me. And when I
it's
see it,
like,
I'm like, oh, we have a weak system here, and
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not afraid to like fucking vocalize it.
Because that's the person, yeah, like that's the person, you know, we call the Punisher. It's
Yeah,
like
I mean,
you
why would
see
you
him
keep them around?
coming and you're like, oh shit, like you know, like
Why does
nah,
anyone keep somebody like that around? This really like piques my satanic upbringing, or so to speak, like where it's like you should only be surrounded by the people that are healthy or whatever
yeah,
that back you up. Well, that, you know, for better or for worse, you know, that's not really a good mantra to keep, but it always makes you think, fuck, you know, like I guess this is why I don't have a friend group, because like
mm,
if you have a group of friends, it's inevitable that this sort
shit,
of tribal behavior will happen. And you know, you can't entirely blame that fucking person for being the
mm,
way they are. They're the fucking person that is just the worst, the totem of the, you know, the
yeah,
worst
yeah,
behavior of the group, and they're accepted by it. You know, they're sort of like forgiven in a way
yeah.
because
Here's
they
it,
represent something less than them, so they
yeah,
can look down at them for it, but they're still in the group. It's like, I just got here. What the fuck do I know about your little fucking pecking order? And if you have someone like that in your group, keep them well the fuck away from me. It's not like I'm a bully. It's like they will pick on me because
yeah, yeah. No,
I
he was
represent the
he,
new form of attention to them. I
yeah,
mean, this is all for fucking crazy.
yeah. We've all, bleh. But yeah, no, you're not a bully. But like, I remember I was thinking like, how funny, how fucking hilarious. Do you remember at Dark Mofo stopping in the middle of the set to pour us drinks because our glasses were empty.
No, I don't remember that exactly, but I'm sure I
It
did.
was really, really funny. You were like, excuse me, like to the crowd, and then you got up with your with your bottle and came and like filled all our drinks up at the side of the stage,
It was a
and
really
then
funny
went back.
show. I do remember that. They were very
You
loud.
had, yeah, they were very loud, and you had tons of jokes that night.
Yeah.
You were rolling the jokes out, and
Well,
you were pretty
yeah.
damn drunk as well because we'd been drinking before we went in as
I've been
well.
accused of worse. You know, like I still got paid for the show, so um,
But I think
no,
everybody loved it because it was like that's the thing with one of your
it was
shows
a
is
weird show. It was a weird show. Dark
it
Monk
was
was weird. Yeah.
huge big thing. But like, you know, all of your shows are like kind of you don't know, like every show that I've gone to of yours has been like a different crowd.
Right.
Like yeah, and you don't know what the response is going to be like or like what you're going to be like. You know, like
Well, I think part of it is too, like I do drink, you know, and I will be some level of intoxicated when I play, and I can
yeah,
talk about that like in some sort of flowery, like sort of spiritual way, and
you
say
just
like
like to go to
I could say it either way, and it works. But the truth of the matter is like uh, yeah, you don't know what you're gonna get. Some nights you might get me more tired plus drunk.
yeah.
Yeah, because my schedule is breakneck. When I go out on tour, I might do 20 or 30 shows with a band and then do 5 to 10 shows solo at the end of it. You know,
Yeah.
I don't get paid that much. Literally, it's not like I'm not like some fucking I don't swim in money. Like I'm a working class musician, really, when it comes
Mm.
down to it. And I don't steal money from the people that I work with, the
Yeah.
people that work for me. So I don't
Yeah.
rob them to make more money. So yeah, this is like my level. So yeah, there might be a time like Dark Mofo was at the end of 2 months of touring. I might have been, you know, jet lagged, plus tired, plus drunk, you know,
Yeah.
and plus
It was
playing in
different. It
front of
was
an
just
audience in
that was
Tasmania, Australian people that I've never met before. And part of it is
and
reading the room.
it was a big venue too.
The big venue, a lot of people. I remember a lot of people talking. I remember a lot of people enjoying it. You know, it's really not a good way to understand what Australia is like, is to come and play Dark Mofo in Tasmania as an American artist and then fly away. You know,
Yeah.
so many Australians, you know, even then they were telling me, and then afterwards they're like, you've never really been to Australia. You know, you've been to Tasmania, you've done Dark Mofo, but you haven't been.
Yeah.
And so when I came
Seriously.
later to do Australia, I really didn't know what to expect. I didn't base it off of what happened in Tasmania. I had no idea.
Yeah.
But the attention that I experienced, like you were at the Evelyn show, the Evelyn Hotel, it was amazing. That was like an incredible show. Like you could
It was a really
hear
good
a
show.
pin drop. You know, it was like people that were very well, you know, attentive and paying attention.
Well,
And then
everyone was there to see you, and
right,
it was like they were all very like
right,
quiet and disciplined, and like because they really wanted
yeah,
to, you know.
a little different than the festival vibe of, you know, Dark Mofo. But I
Yeah.
still love Dark Mofo. The way, you know, if you get treated that well, you know, like I said, the
That's
amount
why
I
people.
get paid, the
Yeah.
way they treated us, like it was just insane, like insanely good. It's how every artist should be treated. So yeah, I could take a loud audience, you know, at Dark Mofo for the amount that they paid us.
Yeah. And they're
So
so nice.
yeah, but and then doing the rest of we did Adelaide and Brisbane, and we did one other Sydney, you know,
Yeah.
in addition to Melbourne, and they were all good. I mean, they were really all good.
What was Adelaide like?
Oh my god, Adelaide was fucked up. I'm so glad you asked. And the 15 people, 16 people that are watching right now are in for a treat. So, can I tell you the story?
Yeah, go.
My God. I love this story so much. So we get to Adelaide, and that's the first show we're gonna play. So I think
Yeah.
we flew into somewhere else, and I think we flew into Sydney, and they flew us there, and then we went to our hotel, and we were just like super jet lagged, and we were
Yeah.
just chilling out, and we had a day before we had to play, and Garrett, fuck, I'm so gonna fucking he's not listening. He's not
He's
here.
not on. He's not. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so Garrett, like the month prior, had been in a terrible car accident where he flipped over his Jeep, and he really messed up his back in that. And so we have this day off. I know it's relevant. Just wait. So his back hurts, and we're there, and we have this day off. And the next day we wake up, and he's like, "Oh, my back hurts from the car accident." I go, "We should find you a masseuse." That's what I'm thinking.
Yes.
City of churches.
Yep.
Okay, so we're walking around, and we see this, like, it's our day off before the show, and we see these, like, massage parlors. And none of them look like they actually do massages. They look like they do.
They're all happy endings. Mm-hmm.
Yes, yeah. And, you know, he's not that kind of guy. I'm not that kind of guy either. You know, real talk. Like, we're not going to just wander in and, you know, yeah, that's just,
Yeah.
if it looks. So we ended up at this bar called the Pink Moon, and we asked somebody there. It's a very cool bar in Adelaide. I don't know if it's still there after COVID-19, but anyways, it was there then. And we asked the guy who was working, you know, where would you go to get a massage? Nothing fucked up, you know.
Like an actual fucking massage.
Yeah, like his back literally hurts. Like he needs this. And he was like, oh, this place, and it wasn't open, and yada, yada, yada. So we get, you know, it wasn't open in time for us to go to the show. So, but the point is, it was on my mind. I was like trying to think of my guy getting, you know, the dude who works for me, a massage. Yeah. So we, like the next day, we're there to play the show in Adelaide. And we're on stage, and I make this joke about how his back hurts, and if anybody knows a massage parlor, that would be good. And this girl in the front row, she goes, I know, I have a massage parlor. Right? And her friend goes, yeah, she does. And I go, great, meet us backstage. I kind of know it's sketchy, by the way. Like, I'm not, I'm not like a saint here. I'm like, this is going to be a little fucking off. City of Church is my ass. You know, I know, like, yeah, it's like. So anyway, afterwards, they're backstage, and we meet them. And I go, yeah, he really needs just a regular back massage. They go, yeah, come over. We have a massage parlor.
I'm waiting for, yeah.
So we get in a taxi. Yeah. The four of us get in a taxi. We drive to this unmarked building. Yeah. Are you with me?
Yeah, I'm with you. Uh-huh.
And we go into it, and it's like a regular unmarked building. Like it's not a massage parlor. It's just like sketch, but it's like high class sketchy. We go in. There's a guy in a suit right when we walk in, and like somebody at a desk, and I'm just like, the fuck is this shit?
Yeah.
And she's like, no, it's like the lady, the madam. We find out later she's like the madam of the place. She's like, it's okay. And this guy in the suit waves us by. We're just like, whoa. And then she shows us all the different rooms where they do all the different things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is fucking insane, you know? Like, obviously not what we signed up for. And we end up, this is so great that this is live. We end up in a room where he gets a massage, essentially. Like, I mean, I'm like, I have to leave. You know, this is not this is not what I'm going to do. I'm not going to be in a fucking massage parlor in Adelaide. He wanted, and he was getting a massage. Like, they were actually just giving him a massage. But it was clearly a sex fucking house. Yeah. And I go, I'm going home. I left, and I go, be at the hotel at 9 a.m. or I leave you here. I love that I'm telling you. Is this gonna be like online forever? Can you see this? Jesus Christ! You gotta fucking. It's fine. I don't care. No, actually, yeah, you probably have to. But no, he was there. He showed up. He turned up the next day, and it was fine. And that's that's the story. But
So,
city of churches, my ass. More like city of massage parlors.
yeah, well, they're everywhere here as well in
Can you
Melbourne.
delete this? Can you posthumously?
Well, you didn't really say anything bad.
Well, he didn't do anything wrong. Like, I mean, he got the massage and he was there at 9 a.m. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
I don't know.
you don't know if he stayed and got the happy endings and stuff.
I don't think he did. I think he came home and just.
I don't reckon he did either. He's kind of a good.
He's a good
guy.
Well,
yeah,
he's like a good tissue. I'm always like, do something bad, please, and he'll never.
Because remember, we left the bar. We went to that one bar for a little bit, and then we were like, nah, we were still raging, and we were like, nah, we're gonna go back to the promoter's house. And Garrett was like, I'm gonna go back to bed.
Yeah, he's very.
So I can't imagine that he actually did anything. He probably crapped himself afterwards.
No, it's not his style. But no, he probably got the massage when he came home. But it was a crazy experience. Like, it's not something I'm used to. Like, that's not something that happens here. You know.
Yeah.
We don't. I guess you have massage, sex work. Okay, so sex work should be legal. Like, it shouldn't be like as illegal as it is. Like, but is it true that it's more or less a legal thing that like red light district? Yeah. So.
Yeah. So different states have different things.
Hey, I figure, whatever, like, don't fucking criminalize these people. Don't waste everyone's time. I mean,
so they made like certain areas are like, they decriminalized it, and like, so you can do what, like.
Well, it's not like sex work doesn't happen here, but it happens in such a like nefarious, like dark way in Seattle that it's fucked up. No one's protected,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that, like, if you privatize it and you legalize it, that everyone's protected, but Jesus Christ, like, the difference between that and here is astounding. It's gonna happen. Maybe protect the people that are doing it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, if you have to tax them, but I mean, it's sort of how I feel about drugs. It's like,
well, I mean, they work and they earn money and they do pay taxes.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, so they can do it whatever they want. Like, if they're gonna, as long as they're doing like paying taxes and shit and declaring their money.
How's the social stigma? Is it still
shit?
Yeah.
It's still quite shit. Like, one of my best friends is a sex worker, and like, it's amazing to me, like, just like some of the people's reactions.
Unfair. It's so unfair.
Like,
I think that, like,
they've been left like at the bottom of the pile when it comes to COVID, because they just like don't want to deal with them. And so basically no one who works in the sex industry is working at the moment, and they have no idea when they're going to be able to, because the government won't even talk about it. Like, they basically have just said, no, they can't work, but they haven't discussed anything at all about like how they're going to help them like get back to work. Like, you can have.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I see somebody that said they should be treated as independent contractors. Well, Derek ADS _ ADSC. I kind of disagree with that, because here in my city, they treat a lot of dancers and sex workers as independent contractors, and they absolutely rob them and they fuck them up. Like, they force them to pay money to show up to dance, and it is entirely, but the thing about Seattle that people don't really understand is we come from almost like a prohibition stance on historically on
What's your like what is your stripper like policy thing over there?
right. So like I mean, a
Because
strip club in Seattle is astonishingly different than a strip club in Vancouver, Canada,
hmm
British Columbia, and or Portland, Oregon. So
hmm
like both of those places, you could drink. You know, the lights are dimmed. Um, the girls are pretty well represented, I think.
hmm
Better in those environments. Seattle, it's lights are way up. There's no alcoholic drinks. It's
Yeah.
almost like really heavily regulated. Um, I I don't know. I mean, I don't really, like I said, I don't really go out for that stuff, and I'm not.
No,
It's not
no.
like a
It's just
humble
I
brag.
just
I'm
yeah.
really not interested in
I
it
just
per
find it
se.
really I find it really interesting only because like you know, obviously LA, there's like so many people and they're all
Oh
like
yeah, everyone does it.
they're all
Everyone.
dancing, you know. And the thing
Oh
is
sure.
like
Like I mean, not to
but
mention
it's like
like adult
but
film stuff in
but
LA.
it's
Like
like
I mean, that's like a huge industry.
but they're all bikini dancers. They're not
What does that mean?
strippers.
Yeah.
Like in Australia, if you're a stripper, you have to take absolutely all your clothes off, legs open to the sun, like
Sure.
that's what stripping is. But
It's
like in
a
LA,
full
it's
on.
like
Yeah.
yeah, like so, and it's alcohol as well, regardless, you know. Whereas in LA, like it's if there's alcohol, the girls have to wear a bikini, and if there's no alcohol, then they can take off more. But it's still not the level of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
level of stripping that like people do here. So when people are like, I'm a stripper, and you're like, oh yeah, what do you wear to strip? Oh, you just wear a bikini actually. You're not really like it's kind of a fucked up
Sure.
like it's a totally
Like
different
there's
like
levels to it. There's
yeah,
levels to it. Like
there's like
like
a
are
totally
you
different
like you could
mentality.
claim that you're stripping, but are you? You know, it's like
Yeah,
it's sort of like
yeah,
saying like, oh, I'm devastated that touring ended because of COVID-19. I'm like, are you, bitch? Like you did it on your weekends. Like this is my job.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
yeah, it's the same thing. It's like
yeah, yeah.
yeah. No,
So
I know.
I'll be like,
Yeah, like there's like
dude,
levels to this shit. There's levels to
mm.
that shit. I'm sure of it. Like I'm
And
sure of
like
it. Like
same as like in Melbourne, you can just walk down the street and walk past sex shops like everywhere,
sure.
and like no one even blinks an eye, you know. Like parents are walking their kids down the street, and they just walk past a shop called, you know, like, and it's like, like, you
I,
know,
I mean
they're
that
not,
shit I feel like could never happen here because we're so puritanical in our view of things.
mm,
Even though we're viewed like this city is viewed as so progressive,
yeah,
historically it's like just been like this prohibition like backing like puritanical thing. Like I mean it goes deep. Even though we appear liberal and like we have like an autonomous zone, a part of our city, like there is still like a level to that shit too. Like
mm,
this city, Seattle, is less than Portland and Vancouver in sex workers' rights. That's
yeah,
straight up. Like they're not allowed to do things that they're allowed to do there. They're not
yeah,
allowed to
yeah,
make the same like that. They're more controlled by people that like are either managers. They're men usually. Like
mm,
that happens. I think more here, and I could be speaking out of turn because I don't know exactly what I'm talking about. But
yeah, yeah,
from what I understand from the people I know, it's more free that direction and that direction,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
and you know, people might misconstrue Seattle as like this free for all thing. It's not, and it's historically never been.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's
Ah,
very puritanical, I would
we're,
say.
we're getting the warning again.
What's the because we have to go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Bye. I love you. Oh wait, no, we keep talking.
No,
Wait,
let's keep
you haven't
talking.
asked me a single question yet.
We haven't talked about music because I'm just letting you talk and have a great time over there. So
Well, thank
yeah,
you for letting me
let's.
talk.
So we'll come back. We'll come back in a couple of seconds.
Does it only give you an hour?
Yeah, it's really shit. and then it starts going do 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 countdown. All right, I'll turn it off and come straight back.